the fire tools department. Check out our great selection of tool storage, tool sets, and so much more.
And Mary's Ping Pong Podcast number 5.
$200 back in points. Once you spend $50, you will receive $15 back in points.
Need a ball.
Lastly, if you plan for a Sears MasterCard, if you purchase $30 or more, you will save $20 off your first purchase. As always, thank you for shopping at Sears Del Amo Torrance, where our members always save more.
Steve Schlesinger is watching.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. And Famino aside.
Hello, Famino.
And Doug Sobel. Sorry, that was my thumb.
What we're supposed to do is we're supposed to talk about interesting stuff. The current interesting stuff is Mary watching the phone to see on the table to see who's watching and who comments.
Well, Scott Zaffron said, "Happy Monday. Welcome back."
Hi, Scott. Yesterday we couldn't have a ping pong podcast because we were picking up Sabrina at the airport. She came home from her first year in college at the University of Denver, where she is studying classical voice. She's getting a Bachelor of Music in Vocal Performance, but is basically there to study opera. Well, she does have to do a musical theater song for her finals for next year. And so she's got about a month till she starts in Salzburg, Austria.
Schlesinger says, "Hello, and how can you see me?"
Because Mary has a phone. She is logged in just like you are. She's got a phone sitting on the table so that we can check comments and who's watching and such. So anyway, Sabrina is had some performances and a bunch of tests, and she had to pack up her dorm room. And then her roommate drove her to the airport, and she had to arrange all that herself without us helping, which made her a little pissed off at me, but she did handle it. So she made it home, and we went to our favorite restaurant, or one of our favorite restaurants, Happy Veggie, where we get a gluten-free vegan pho. It's on PCH in Redondo?
Redondo, just south of King Harbor Center.
And one of the issues has been that they opened up a brand new restaurant 2 doors down in the same mini mall called Grain Cafe that also has a huge number of, it's a vegan restaurant, that also has a bunch, many more gluten-free options than does Happy Veggie. So we've been going to Happy Veggie for maybe 3 or 4 years and didn't really go there when we first moved to the area, because we went there once and didn't really see anything gluten-free on the menu, so we just kind of struggled through it and didn't go back. I think Sabrina went there one time and said their pho is vegan and they can make it gluten-free.
Beth Laba is watching.
I bet.
Hi, Beth.
So I got gluten-free vegan pho without noodles, and Sabrina and Mary got gluten-free vegan pho with noodles and extra mushrooms, and Jacob got pad thai. And it went pretty well. One of the things about...
And spring rolls.
And Sabrina got spring rolls too, gluten-free spring rolls. One of the things about Happy Veggie is...
Hard to read and...
Oh, you're just supposed to do it in between points.
Okay.
One of the things about Happy Veggie versus
Grain Cafe.
Grain Cafe is that Happy Veggie closes at 8:30 on weekdays and 9 o'clock on weekends, which really means they close at 8 on weekdays and 8:30 on weekends, whereas Grain Cafe is open till 10 on weekdays and 11 on weekends.
Which is how we got gluten-free vegan nachos after
You're supposed to look now.
oh, sorry. Steve Sessions, I thought you guys lived in West LA. What are you doing in Torrance?
We live
Kevin
in Palos
Bakers
Verdes.
is watching, and Karen Zaffron is watching.
We live in Palos Verdes. We do not live on the west side.
We do not live on the west side. Have not for...
30 years? 20 years?
Well, we moved when Jacob was... Before he turned 1, because his first birthday was in our house.
So we were in Culver City 20 years ago, and before that we were in West Hollywood for a few years. But Mary grew up in Torrance. I am
Sorry.
an import to the Southland, as Steve knows. Because I'm sure he went to my parents' house when we were in college. Is that right, Steve?
Somebody's been messing with camping equipment. It's all over the floor.
Well, this is the old ping pong table. It was the new ping pong table, but it's missing feet.
It is very interesting that husband and wife, Scott and Karen Zaffron, are communicating to each other on the comments for the live feed.
On the ping pong podcast, helping Scott and Karen's marriage.
Scott said, I'm on my way home soon.
Anything we can do to help, right?
Yeah, we're helping. Glad we can help.
So Sabrina was hanging out today. She was happy to be home. And Jacob was going to go to Zumba tonight at Boogie Zone Utopia.
He is a Zumba friend.
Daddy!
Ah!
So whenever it goes out of play and goes behind something, we say that's where the chupacabra hides.
Chupacabra's back there. Luckily, the ball came back out on
You
its
need to
own.
buy for the
That's
I
a.
want to beat you on it.
Steve Saucier says, remember the infamous melted chocolate episode with your dad? Kevin Bigger says, play faster. Brenda McGee says, who's keeping score?
We don't keep score.
Scott Zaffron wants to know if there's any store specials that we should be aware of.
There's a bunch of sales. I can tell you that they do have orange ping pong balls on sale. Jula Essentials, 1 star, 6 balls for $3.59.
Steve Schlesinger said, oh my God, there are people. Do you have little guests? And then, Karen said, do you have little guests? And then Steve said, kid almost got a free phone.
We were watching pretty closely, but he was kind of cute, so
He was trying to play foosball because the phone is on the foosball table.
we figured it was texture and interest. And I was going to introduce him if he hung out, but then he didn't hang out. So we were talking about how to get home from Europe. That Sabrina's going to be in Salzburg, but she's not going to get to see any of Europe. So we've got about a week before she's got to be home. And so we're looking at Copenhagen, Madrid, Budapest, Oslo, Paris, London. Did I say Edinburgh already? I don't remember what I said.
I don't remember what you said.
But Edinburgh was on that list. So,
Edinburgh, Budapest, London, Madrid, Vienna, Oslo, Copenhagen.
good shot. So in Edinburgh, there's the Fringe Festival, which you can look up if you want to. I'm sure Karen will post a link. And in Budapest, there's like the Zeta Festival, where like the Foo Fighters are playing, and Florence and the Machine, and a huge music festival in Budapest. Sabrina's done, I think, on the 8th of August. And so then it's just a question of, before we go home, we want to go to a couple of places and do a couple of things. And yes, we've been to Paris and London before. We haven't been to Madrid in a long time. We went on our honeymoon.
Kids haven't been. I just remember being extremely hot in the summertime. Oh! Oh!
All right. Check your messages.
Steve Bart says they're back. Steve Bart says Sears is going to charge you rent. Karen Zaffron says Budapest or Oslo. I'd like I get a vote.
You can have votes just like you can have points in the game. There's nothing at risk.
not been there yet.
We're kind of looking for places that have reasonable, sort of premium economy flights nonstop to LA. Norwegian is sort of the main airline that does that from Europe to Los Angeles. The other one is Thomas Cook, but they really only go from Manchester, England.
This Jen. I'm having a great day. Oh,
I'm on fire. Making my wife chase the ball. That's why we don't play hard.
Steven wants to know how about Budapest and Oslo?
Well, all we know is that in Budapest there's the music festival, and in Oslo it won't be hot.
It won't be hot. And
Was that the farthest
it was
north
a
one?
cheap flight, non-stop back home. Although not the cheapest. Madrid was cheapest.
Right, and I speak a little bit of Spanish, and so you said, well, you could just go to Mexico, or you could just go into Los Angeles proper, and you can speak all the Spanish you want. Which is fair, as Sabrina would say.
Yes, but we do have to plan something based on leaving Salzburg at some point. Mexico is not exactly on the way.
Steve.
Steve.
Or Steve.
Steve or Steve, since there's two. Or at least there have been. Whether they're still watching is another question.
So if anybody wants to contact Lauren, he's talking about going to Europe with Rachel this summer. But you have to kind of lobby them to be in the same place as you are at the same time. So
Or you could go on their bike tour with them. If you like biking. Donut paddle! When your paddle has a hole in it, it's called the donut paddle.
Chupacabra!
Oh my God, where'd it go?
I hear it.
I hear it. I think it's in the box.
All right, let me pan over. Everybody can see it in the box. Uh-oh, there's a bit of a see, there it is. That's all the balls that we've squished before.
That's where we hide them.
And don't pay any attention. Steve says, I've got to run. Have fun. Why, thank you, Steve. I hope you have a good time, too. So there's a bit of a graveyard of destroyed ping pong balls behind Mary, and kind of a stand-up, three-sided cardboard display that's meant to show models that they don't have here, but that you can order through them to be delivered to your home. But we put the squish balls in there because there's no
Trash can.
trash can. So today we started at the pretty much same place we've been starting all week, which is where Uniqlo and H&M is on the new side of the mall. And then we did the downstairs with Nordstrom's and Macy's and Tesla's down there. And then we came over this way, and we were intending to do, we did Dick's, and we were intending to do, we did Joann's. We were intending to do JCPenney's, but we forgot, we missed it. So we're thinking about doing that on the other way back down. But then there's
Burlington Coat Factory on the way back.
Burlington Coat Factory on the way back, and then we go through one of the two Macy's and then the other Macy's. Then we go upstairs, and once again there's Nordstrom, so we go by Din Tai Fung, and we wave to the men in the window. We're making dim sum.
Rolling the dim sum.
And there's the outside, upstairs where the theaters are, and then downstairs where BJ's is, and there's a seafood buffet. And they're about to put in a Matsuo marketplace where the old Ross used to be. There's like a Marshall's upstairs and a Ross downstairs or something.
Or if you were really, really old, you would remember Orbox, and after Orbox was Store, S-T-O-R, kind of like IKEA. Both in the big blue box building. Karen says, is it me or does Scott knock it off the table the most? Steve Schlesinger says, please refer to me as Splash so that you don't confuse me with Steve and Bart. And how many entrances and exits have you counted at the mall, says Karen Zaffron. And Steve Schlesinger says, now we can't hear you very well, so we need to talk louder. Talk louder.
Louder.
Louder. There's nobody down here to worry because we can talk as loud as we want.
We have actually gone around the mall and on successive days, with breaks in the middle, gone into every outside entrance to start our walking for the day.
And some of them suck.
The one that's the worst is probably the one with stairs to Burlington Coat Factory.
Well, one to Dave & Buster's is pretty bad.
So the Dave & Buster's one is really noisy.
Yeah, but at least you're out fast.
Whereas the one to Burlington Coat Factory, you go down a hallway, and then you walk downstairs, and then you're in the back of the store. Then you got to do the same thing on the way out because we try to go out the same entrance we go in. So that means you got to walk upstairs to get out. We tend to avoid stairs. We like escalators a lot. So the real treat is to go from the outside part where BJ's is, and what's the Asian restaurant out there?
Vegas Seafood Buffet.
No, the other one, the big one.
Oh, P.F. Chang's.
P.F. Chang's is out there. That if you go from that level up to the new level, the first level, then you can take the next elevator and take 2 up escalators in a row. Escalator up from the outside, escalator up inside.
Karen Zaffron says she remembers both Orbox and Store.
Store.
Store! Capital letters, exclamation point, Store!
You're saying, Karen, that Mary isn't being hard enough in her ping pong play? That I'm making her chase, but she's not making me chase because she's a nicer person than I am?
Maybe you're just better at fielding than I am.
Well, I do have longer arms. Don't blame me because I'm beautiful. So you choose to be called Splash, huh?
Splash. Nice nickname.
Well, that was his fraternity nickname.
Yes, I know.
Oh. I wonder if your daughters are aware of that one. And if you've
That's
explained,
not a real shot.
if you've explained its significance to them, I'm not sure that I even remember. I know Lawrence was out because he had big teeth. Still has big teeth. So the Dodgers are in Anaheim tonight. Whee! For, I think, 2 games, right?
Yeah, I think it's 2 games in.
When they come home, is it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Cubs?
Yes.
And then
Thursday, Friday,
Giants,
Saturday,
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Giants.
Is there another series after that, too?
Yes. 3 series in a row, 11-game homestand.
So there'll be 4 series. Oh, 3 series. You're saying Cubs, Giants, and who's after that? Oh, I think it's Rockies.
I think you're right, because isn't it the Rockies game is DU at LA baseball games? Rockies.
So there's still lots of tickets available if anybody wants to purchase any. We have seats in both the field level and the dugout club available for many games. Of course, we have me and Mary and Jacob and Sabrina all home at the same time, too. So we can use lots of tickets as necessary. You'd say, well, why do you have 2 people and 6 tickets? Is that what you would say?
I know why.
But are you asking if I would please explain it because it's so interesting?
Sure, it's very interesting. So entertaining.
So, we originally had tickets in the dugout club. Well, I mean, we had seats in the field level before that, but we had tickets in the dugout club when the kids were little. And we were in the 3rd row, and Frank McCorder owned the team at the time and was having money problems. And so he was sitting in the 3rd row in the owner's box, which was kind of next to us. And so were we, and so he figured the first and second rows were at a premium price, the third row should be too. So we basically doubled our ticket price from one year to the next, and we said, no, thank you. We asked for tickets that were just a row back, but semi-comparable, and they said, no. So we went and we sat like just some field level seats that weren't particularly expensive, right?
We went and sat in the, like, under the shade on the field level on the Dodgers home side, third base side.
Right, but we kept moving up. And then we had Jacob's bar mitzvah party one year. We were in 18E, which were pretty good. And the guy who was next to us was giving up his seats. And so I'd asked our ticket guy to save those for us so we'd go from 2 seats to 4 seats. He said, sure, but then it kind of got messed up and somebody else bought it. And that person wouldn't give the seats back. And so he said, well, you know, I'm not going to take care of them, but I'll take care of you. How does 14A and B sound? Now, 14 is basically between the Dodgers' home plate and the visitors, between home plate and the visitors' dugout, with basically
Between the batting circle and the dugout, actually.
with basically no seats even in the dugout club in front of them.
Because of the staircase that's in front of us.
Right, and so fabulous, fabulous, fabulous seats. And so we've been in those for maybe 6 years. Jacob's bar mitzvah would have been 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So what were we looking for? Why did we add extra seats in the dugout? We added them because there were some security issues. That basically they changed the layout of the stadium to add, so you could walk all the way around, that the bleachers were then attached to the field level. And so in the late innings, especially in very popular games, drunk people from either the all-you-can-eat section or just the, which is in the right field bleachers, or in the left field bleachers, will come down and just sit in whatever open field level seats there are. And so it's not that it's a problem all the time. It just happens sometimes, especially in like games against the Giants and rivalry games and stuff like that. And so, having been in the dugout club before and having gone to the World Series 2 years ago and not having enough seats, we said, well, the Dodgers look like they're going to be pretty good for a few years. Why don't we see about getting a couple of seats in the dugout club again? And so we added those, but we didn't want to give up our seats for a number of reasons. One is they're really good at a field level price instead of a dugout club price. You know, it's under $200 a game versus about, nice shot, about $400 a game. But you get service in the seats, you get free food, there's a buffet inside beforehand. The people are kind of the same, it's kind of a place to hang out. And so, what was that noise?
So he's dragging equipment across from one side of the Sears to the other.
Since we sold quite a few, you can't go to 81 games a year. Since we sold quite a few of the field level seats, we figured, well, we could do that for the dugout club as well, which we have in fact been doing, and which we did when we had the dugout seats before. And so far so good. Last year we didn't make a profit, but because we just really charge during the season to our friends and family sort of a tiered pricing, but at our cost. Basically,
averages out.
half of them are below our cost, and half of them are above our cost. So we're just trying to break even. But then the playoffs, basically we just charge market prices to try to make up for the games we used and any games that we had to burn.
Whoa!
Phone shot.
Phone shot.
And they're great seats, and they're available for every game. And if you want seats at the beginning of next year or for the rest of this year, let me know, and I will send you over a list.
Okay, so Splash says, go Angels, and Karen Zephyr says, Freeway Series. And then he posted a link to a picture of him at Dodger Stadium with his dad. There you go.
Glad you have good memories.
All I can see is the
good
link. I can't
experiences
see the
at
photo.
Dodger Stadium. I started going to Dodger Stadium when my family moved here in 1970. My sister was born in 1970, I think the end of 1970, we moved to California. And my dad's boss had seats in section 13, row J, which is on the Dodgers side, 4 seats. And he'd bring his own hot dogs and his own buns. And my dad would always get those seats on my birthday. So when I got into high school and could go on my own with friends and stuff, that sort of extended that Dodger fandom. And as soon as we were able to handle it, we started buying other people's seats, partial seasons, when we moved back to LA after college at San Diego State. And then we eventually started getting, the year after the strike, started getting our own season seats.
We started with reserve level.
That's the second year. First year we were down near the foul pole. We split them with Sam. Then we moved up to the reserve level because it was less expensive and you could see a lot better. And we would get 4 seats when Jacob was little, and have 1 seat for me, 1 seat for Mary, 1 seat for Jacob, and 1 seat for all the diaper bags
Jacob's
and
crap.
all this stuff. We could always take
Sometimes,
a guess.
sometimes yes, but a lot of times it was Jacob's stuff. Then the year that I was pregnant with Sabrina, we moved closer to the aisle tunnels on the reserve level so that potty training Jacob would be easier. We didn't have to walk 400 flights of stairs every time he said he had to go to the bathroom. And also I was pregnant with her, so I didn't have to walk as far when I was pregnant. Donut paddle.
Then you get back to the start of the story where we moved into the dugout club after that for about 5 or 6 years, right?
Oh, I forgot to set the timer. I don't know how long we've been playing.
Karen! Doesn't it say on the, I think it says on the phone how long the video's been recording.
I'm sure it does, but you're going to have to go to it. It doesn't say on my phone.
It's Deborah P.L. Pollister says, excellent hand and eye coordination. Why, thank you, Deborah. No, it doesn't say how long. We're just here endlessly.
Well, at some point we do have to finish our walk, so.
Yeah, we've been walking 5 miles a day or so here at the mall. We try to not walk the same route more than once in a day. And so we kind of know the mall and kind of know which, we walk through the majors, we walk through the major department stores, etc., and through and around all the hallways and such. And it tends to work out to about 11,000 steps for me and about 12,000 for Mary. My phone was in my pocket, but it didn't record on Saturday.
Saturday,
So I didn't have the app open. Although my app in the phone, the Heart app or the Health app or whatever in the iPhone, did
the
record
built-in one that comes with your phone.
with the pedometer. Score!
Woo! Way over here.
Hey, Garrett. Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
Last point.
Okay.
Of course, we don't keep score, so that could take any amount of time.
Well, that's it. As Scott goes and chases the ping pong ball.
You can sing a song or do a dance.
No, I have to put the table back the way we found it. See, because there's this big display.
In case anyone wants to buy a ping pong table from
It
Sears.
belongs on the table that we have to put back, along with the price tag of the table we play on. Bye, everybody.